Yeah.
They coming in.
This is the lock of the century. San Francisco wins this game easily against Philadelphia in Philadelphia. There's a reason they're favored in this game. They happen to be the better team. Well, it sounds to me like someone should take the old victory lap, and not just any victory lap, the slow motion victory lap.
Oh, slow-mo victory lap.
Why are we doing this early? Are we really? This is why he act like this, Jacoby.
We're enabling.
We're enabling this.
In reverse.
We're enabling this whole situation.
Halfway through the game, I was like, Carton, I'm happy for Craig to be insufferable tomorrow.
The first touchdown, I was like,
And here's what happened. Philly comes down the field right away, bang. They get inside the 20-yard line. They have to settle for a field goal. San Francisco 3 and out. Philly gets the ball back inside the 20, down to the 10. Oh, you got to settle for a field goal. San Francisco goes 3 and out. I think they only ran 6 plays for -6 yards in the first quarter. And then all of a sudden they reminded themselves, well, we have Christian McCaffrey. We can run the ball and run the ball successfully to Trent Williams' side of the field, best left tackle in the sport. And, oh, by the way, we have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, who know how to get open. And then it became a very easy game for Brock Purdy. Pitch and catch. Eagles really unbalanced on defense, and San Fran dominated them from the second quarter on.
For somebody that was cheering for the Eagles, and I saw the Eagles, first 15 minutes they scored, right? But they weren't touchdowns.
Touchdowns versus field goals.
Yeah, the Eagles were 2 for 4, I think, in the red zone, man. And I'm sitting back and I'm saying, like, that's not enough. It's just simply not enough. And what was most struggling about the whole situation, like, the Eagles only had 13 points from an offense that puts up points. No matter how they get them, they get them.
You know, the other part that I found very interesting in this game, I've never seen a quarterback, and in this case, great quarterback in Jalen Hurts, have the amount of time he had. Like the front four of San Fran, who did have some moments, like they weren't shut out the entire game, and later in the game they really started to dominate. But there were parts of that game where we always say you got to get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds. That's about league average, right? Where he had 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, which means that the coverage, as good a game as A.J. Brown did have, the coverage was money.
On top of that, that front four really came up and they showed up. Listen, the bottom line, and you never want to make excuses, the Eagles played 3 games in 13 days.
Sounds like you're making excuses.
Yeah. But my point is, it showed up. It showed up because you saw this Niners offensive line start to lean on this Eagles defensive line, and then you saw this Niners defensive line flat out get off the ball, and they were just hunting the whole game. They just kept coming downhill and getting after the
I think this loss is actually a good thing for Philly because they've been tickling the circle of losing games for a month and a half now. It's like, well, they won but they didn't dominate. They won but MVS dropped the ball. They won but Dak stepped out of bounds. So yes, they know how to win. But it's like the big loss was coming their way at some point. The good thing for the Eagles is week 16, 17, and 18. I know Arizona's playing good ball.
Sure.
And Kyler Murray's back. Those are 3 that should be guaranteed W's. So from a Philly standpoint, if I'm Philly, the loss sucks. I got to eat it. I got to deal with the rest of the world telling me how bad I looked, how I got manhandled, how I talked the talk but didn't walk the walk.
It sucks, but they were right, Craig.
Yes.
The Niners were right.
The Niners were right.
Yes.
We're the better team. If our quarterback is on the field, we're going to beat you. And it ain't going to be close. And that's what happened. San Fran is the best team in the NFC. I've been saying that for a long time. For the Eagles, though, and I'm trying to be kind here.
Why?
You get the loss out of the way. A big loss was looming. It was coming. You weren't going to steal games every single week in the fourth quarter. And now all of a sudden, now you go into Dallas, and now there's blood in the water. Cowboys playing their best football. You're coming off a really bad loss. And now not only is the number 1 seed potentially up for grabs, but the division's up for grabs. The 2 seed is up for grabs. And you might wind up being the 5 seed. Which is why, if you're trying to find some type of positivity in Philly today, and I'm not that guy, but I've always said I'll never lie to the audience, the positivity for Philly is the last 3 games. You ain't going to lose them. So can you split the next 2 against Dallas and Seattle? If you do that, you're going to win the division, but San Francisco then controls, obviously, home field advantage.
I think why I'm so puzzled with Philly, because they've suffered 2 bad losses where I really can't figure them out. They suffered a loss against the Jets on the road.
Right.
How did that happen? I don't know, but it happened. And then at home, where you figured that they was going to be good, solid, and ready for the fight, they got beat up.
Thank you.
So I'm sitting there like, all right, so do we believe in the Eagles?
Well, look, they're still 10-2, right? I mean, we can't all of a sudden decide the Eagles aren't a good football team.
But Craig, we've been saying all season long, yeah, they won, but
and
now I'm trying to look at the whole body of work of the season. I'm saying to myself, maybe they're not the team we thought they were.
But they're really good still. See, that's the thing.
Yes.
I'm going to enjoy their loss for the month. Trust me, I'm not. And I live in a house with Eagle fans, so I'm going to I'm going to soak that rock till it's dry.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting started here today. But this does not end the Eagles season. That's crazy.
But Craig, we talk about statement wins and statement losses, right?
Yes, we do.
When you talk the talk and you pound your chest and you say, come down here, it's like wrestling, right? You call them out the curtain.
Yes.
Come into the middle of the ring. And you don't show up. And like the first quarter, they were money. But for the rest of the game, they only scored 13 points. I know Jalen Hurts got knocked out, came back in the game. Mariota came in there. But overall, DeAndre Swift was a non-factor.
Yep.
And he needed to be a factor. This offensive line needed to be a factor.
San Fran's defense, people only think about the offense because of the big names. San Francisco's defense is as good a defense as there is in football. Jalen Hurts runs into the tunnel, into the locker room. We weren't sure what the injury was. I thought maybe it was the left knee where he got hit. Yep. Maybe it was a concussion. We talked about that, right? Yeah. And I know he cleared all protocol, and that's great, obviously, long-term for Philly. But you're down 3 scores. It's the 4th quarter. Why are you putting him back in the game? That game's a wrap. If you watched any of that game, Philadelphia was not coming back from 42-19
because
the last 2 possessions. The answer is protect your quarterback who's been dealing with injuries the last year or so. His knee, his shoulder, now potential concussion. The game's over. Bringing him back in, I was shocked that they did it because now you're risking a further injury and now you're screwed for the year. Now, the other play that all of America's talking about, we're going to get into right now.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, do it.
And I apologize to cut you off. And just solely because of Jalen Hurts. The way they were getting out physical, if he leaves that game, it's almost like he left his troops on the battlefield.
I'm sure he has to come back.
And for the optics, Sirianni probably said, hey, man, let's tap this one out. We need you. We got a lot of ball left. He probably went up to Sirianni and said, no, I can't leave my guys out there. Because the Niners started peacocking. They started peacocking. They started striking. And when you looked at Fred Warner, he was like, it was ears back and teeth out. So I think I understand what Hurts did. I respect it. To your point, he still had to finish that game, and I'm glad he did.
Yeah, well, you can demand to go back in, but someone's got to be the adult on the sideline and say, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. You coming back into the 4th quarter of a game we're being blown out in doesn't make sense for next week, the week after that, or games that we think we're going to be playing in late January. I thought it was an idiotic decision to put Jalen Hurts back in the game. Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.